Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to something yet to be renamed. And well, in this video, I'm kind of gonna do a day in the life of, just show you kind of the ins and outs of what it means to hold this title, a field operations specialist. If you guys were curious about what I do now, what my job is, it's time to share specific roles of the title that I hold. It's sort of interesting depending on your point of view, I suppose. So I'm gonna check out my route. I'm sitting in my driveway right now. This is the way that I start each day. 7 a.m. open up my calendar and it's a crazy day. This is insanity, actually. It's the day after Memorial Day and people have been taking time off. We just lost somebody. They want me to drive from my house in Jackson up to Canton, Ackworth, Kennesaw. And they've got me doing 3 specific move-ins. I've never been to these houses before. I typically don't go to that area to work. 67 miles one way. Okay, so well over 2 hours is how long it's gonna take to get to this first house. Like I said, it's 7 now. And what I do is I clock in at 8 o'clock after I have driven for an hour. It says 9:19 a.m. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on the limb and say it's not gonna be until after 9:30 that I get to this first house. Tight schedule today, really tight. All right, we made it to I-20. We're gonna get on I-20 westbound at Columbia Drive. As we make our way onto the interstate, I wanna give you kind of a disclaimer and some clarification for the following video that you're about to witness. There's some things that I feel like I need to say in order to properly pull this off, and I use those words loosely. I don't feel like I'm about to do some kind of heist or something like that. I'm just basically showing you in a discreet way. I'm trying to show you what the day-to-day is like in this position. So is there a way that I can show you what I do now without exposing things that should not be exposed? That's the real question. Because what I want you guys to see is the ins and outs of how I perform my job, but I know that there's a lot of stuff that I should not portray in a video. Information that I'm exposed to on my job. So I have to be discreet. I have to be careful about how I do this. So that's my disclaimer. And all I really mean is I'm gonna show you the ins and outs of my job, but there's a lot of stuff still pertaining to my job that I can't necessarily show you. But I am gonna show you all the things that I'm able to show you without crossing a line. You're here with me now to witness the headache of getting onto the connector from I-20 westbound. Traffic comes to a crawl, doesn't matter what time it is. We're moving a little bit now. It wasn't too bad. It's not over yet, but that's a big chunk of it gone. This is 75-85 connector. Failed to mention that. And it splits up here. The funny thing is 85 goes to the northeast. You guys know this if you're truck drivers. 75 goes like northwest, but they're on opposite sides. It's like they're backwards. The exits are backwards to the directions that the roads are actually going in. See how we're kind of curving this way now. Now that we're up here above downtown, it says we're about 40 minutes away. So hopefully that won't change. It's gonna slow down again once we get north of 285. It's only a few miles up north past that the exit for 575 is, and I've shown you guys that before on this channel. A couple years ago when I was still hauling the flatbed, and I would make local deliveries to the Home Depots. I took you up 575. All right, we're getting very close to this house at this point. We're in Canton now. That was not very bad. I mean, it wasn't a headache this morning. It was actually kind of smooth. So I'll try to explain this and wrap it up before we actually get to the house. But before, just a few weeks ago, there were 4 of us field operations specialists working on the west side of the state of Georgia. There are now 3. One was terminated. Same dude that started the day that I started. They let him go. Won't get into the reasons why they let him go, but they did. So that's messing us up a little bit and causing us to fall behind. But basically we have 4 FOS for the west side of Georgia. Keep in mind we also have central and east, but I don't work in those areas. They're not part of the branch of the market that I work in. I work on the west branch side, despite living on the southeast side of Atlanta. So anyway, we all have our own pre-established turf, which means that we have target houses, target territories, unless something falls behind, in which case we have to make up for the lack of each other's work getting done. In this case, I'm having to come all the way up here from where I live to try to help the person whose territory I'm in right now get caught up. I'm doing 3 move-ins in their territory today for them. Now, how that prevents me from falling behind in my own particular territory, I'm not really sure. But we do tend to, I mean, as far as they have told me, we have more houses in Cobb County than anywhere else in the state. My territory specifically, it covers like Douglas County, Coweta County, Spalding County, areas like that. Some of Henry County, like just a little sliver of Locust Grove, but typically Noonan, Griffin, Douglasville, Sharpsburg, Grantville, Sonoya, Peachtree City, also Fayette County, so Fayetteville. Those are typically my areas that I work in, and then again, there's also the exception of me working in Paulding County and Cobb County. So I might go to Villa Rica, I might go to Dallas, Austell, Powder Springs, Lithia Springs, Hiram, those areas as well. Sometimes I have to go as far west as Carrollton, Temple. There's another, God, I won't remember what it's called. There's another city up there on the edge of the state line of Alabama that we go to sometime. I think it's called Pemberton or something like that. But it's north of I-20, whereas Carrollton is south of I-20 on that far west side of the state. So I'm literally going, you know, to all these areas, despite my territory being on the south side typically. This is the house right here. I'm gonna go ahead and back into the driveway. I mean, it's a nice looking house. I'm gonna check out the notes on the place since I have never been here. I'm gonna see what they put in the notes to see and get an idea if there's anything that I need to check on specifically, which will save time. So let me do that real quick. I had to put the address in and look at what the notes say. We don't have great service in the majority of the areas that we go to, so we've got a lot of lag on our server, which makes it take longer to do all this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and get out because it might improve the signal. Okay. So I'm gonna check out these notes real quick. Take a quick walk through, turn all the lights on, start assessing what needs to be done, because this is a move-in setup. I'm trying to get this particular house ready for the future resident to move in, which might require cleaning, might require slight maintenance, and checking up on previously reported issues in the house. So I'm gonna quickly set things like the oven up to preheat to make sure that's working. I'm gonna check the dishwasher, make sure it's mounted and that it works. Making sure the water's turned on, and we'll go from here. Okay, so we made our way in. I'm checking components right now on the smart system in the house. Motion sensors, thermostats, smart locks, various things. I'm checking battery levels, all that stuff. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is attempt to open up previous notes about this particular house. If I can get my server to work. And like, again, this is a big problem that we're repeatedly having. Seemingly everywhere we go, we've got issues with this system that we're using loading. Unfortunately, what I've found is a lot of times I'm having to actually turn the hotspot on my own personal device and try to get it to work like that. See, it's working now. Now that I have my hotspot on my own personal paid service from my own personal cell phone, and now it's working. Okay, it looks like I'm looking at my notes here. You guys, I can't show you this stuff, but I can try to, you know, break it down and explain it for you. But basically, the last time someone was here was on the 15th of May. So 11 days ago. The notes that they left says the home is still rather dirty. Several areas need cleaning, bottom of toilets, windows, window sills, filthy cobwebs throughout, etc. Tub and master bathroom has a slow drain and needs to be unclogged. So what I'm gonna do is check all these things. I'm checking for cleanliness now. There goes the oven. I'm just checking to make sure, yes, the oven properly preheats. The gas is on. I'm gonna check, make sure the refrigerator's making ice. Now I'm gonna move the refrigerator out and check underneath it. Now, specifically, what I'm looking at when I move this refrigerator out is I'm checking just to see, you know, they put notes in saying that the house was rather dirty. So what I'm doing right now is I'm specifically trying to figure out what level of dirty are we talking about here. One way that I can do that is I can typically pull that refrigerator out at every house, look at the floor and be like, okay, is there like a lot of scrubbing or mopping that's gonna have to be done under the refrigerator? I already turned this on. Looks like the garbage disposal's not clogged with crap. What I want to do down here specifically is get down and check, visually smell, make sure that these drain pipes on the sink in the kitchen and every bathroom, make sure that nothing's leaking. So I'm like visibly touching, trying to find leaks. Now these are the garage remotes. I gotta check these too. Another thing I'll typically do is try to figure out if there's hot water
Sometimes, especially if it's a house with gas, like this one has gas, that means the water heater's most likely a gas water heater. Sometimes the pilot goes out. On the water heater, I gotta go light the pilot to make sure that there's hot water coming into the house. And sometimes it just takes a minute. You gotta sit there and wait on it. Okay, it is getting hot though. So we got hot water in here. Now I'm gonna go check the garage remotes and make sure they're working. I'm making sure that all this is functional. Sometimes we have exterior lighting on the back side of the house. I'm gonna check that. Check out the hill right there. We do, but it looks like it's working. It's coming on. There's a lot of trash cans and stuff at this particular house. I just want to make sure that those are empty. And I just got mud on my shoes, so I'm gonna have to go get some shoe covers so I don't get mud on the floor. Got some shoe covers. While I'm out here, I'm gonna check the garage doors. All right, the garage doors are working, so that's good. There's a probably a C5 or a C6 Corvette sitting in that driveway over there idling. Sounds pretty good. Now I'm gonna finish doing my walkthrough real quick. So far, this particular house, I'm gonna say it's gonna take a little bit of cleaning to get it ready. Now, the main thing is that I don't go over on my time as far as the cleaning goes. So I've only got so much allotted time that I'm able to spend in the house cleaning it. And I can go ahead and tell you right now, the bathrooms are gonna need some light cleaning. The floors are gonna need some touching up, some sweeping and some spot mopping on the floors to get those ready. Good thing is I didn't see any mold under the cabinet here, so that's good. Now, next thing I'm gonna do before I forget is I'm gonna turn the thermostat way down, and I'm checking the air conditioner. I'm gonna finish my walkthrough. What's up, people? Again, I'm checking these drains. I'm looking at the mirror, I'm looking at the sink. See, that's not clean. Now, typically, what we want to do is when we come to a house to inspect it before someone's moving in, we want to report anything that's unclean if it's going to be a significant amount of cleaning. And when I say significant, I'm saying it's anything that takes over like 15 minutes to clean. Like, obviously the toilets in this house, they're not looking so good. The shower, the tub, So far, I'm looking at this stuff and it doesn't look good. It looks like it's gonna take some time investment to get this done. Can I report it as being unclean and needing an emergency job work order for a cleaning company to come out here and clean the house before the people move in? Yes. But should I avoid doing that? Yes. Because in reality, it should have already been taken care of, and now the people need to move into the house, but the house isn't ready. So I just need to be intelligent with my decision making. If I come to the conclusion that it's gonna take longer than necessary to get this done, then I might have to report that the house needs to be dealt with by professional cleaners. But it's not that bad. I mean, I would say this one is right there at the threshold, which is annoying, actually. It's very annoying that it's like right there at the point where I'm gonna say it's not clean, but it's not so dirty that I can't take care of it myself. So what I've got to do now is basically get all this cleaning done within an hour and not take any longer than that. Also looking for, you know, anything like this that I see. I don't know how good you guys can see that, but there's, you know, there's a spot on the ceiling right here that, you know, I'm looking at that, I'm assessing, is that because of moisture? What's causing that? Let's look at this bathroom. Now, when I'm done in here, I noticed that there's some fixtures out here that you know, the bulbs are out, so I'm gonna have to get some light bulbs. And swap those out. They're kind of up there high in the ceiling, so I'm gonna have to get my ladder out. Grab some light bulbs. Attic access. Is this door functioning properly? Yes, it is. The furnace is up there in the attic, so I'll make note of that. I'm gonna go grab my ladder and a couple of light bulbs. Come back in here with my brooms, my Swiffer wet jet mop, and my cleaning supplies and get to work. And see, another thing that I got to keep up with is anything that I'm using, replacing in the house, anything that I have to take out of the inventory. Like in this case, I opened this up, I checked, there's 2 light bulbs left in this box. Perfect, just the amount that I need, right? I have to make note of anything that I take out of my own inventory to put in a house. And the reason why is twofold. It's an app that we use to keep up with our van stock. So when we start running low, the system automatically detects that, hey, Jared only has 2 light bulbs left and he's about to use them. Then he's not gonna have any. So he's gonna be SOL if he has to change any more light bulbs out because he's out of van stock. So we're gonna automatically send him some more. And the reason why we know how to do that is because we know how many he has on hand. So that's another reason, I mean, that's one reason why I notate whatever I take out of my inventory and put in the house. The other reason is because it all adds up. You know, the company's paying for everything that goes into a house, including house cleaning and all that stuff. So in this case, even a couple of light bulbs, that's still affects cost overall and the scope of what they're investing to get a house ready for, you know, the next tenant to move into. And the investors that we manage properties for need records, they need notes, documentation on whatever money or materials are going into the scope, the longevity of maintaining their property. So that's why we do that. It's cumbersome, it's extra work, but it's necessary when you've got an operation as big as the one that this company has going. They try to keep track of all that stuff. So, because even though a light bulb, technically it doesn't seem like much as far as concerning cost, even the little stuff adds up. The notes that the other FOS that came to this house put in to report the condition of the house, honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't change these light bulbs. It's not usually their style to keep blown light bulbs in the fixtures when they inspect the house, unless they're just running far behind or something like that. And then, well, that's understandable because it happens to me too. But every little task that I've got to do right now before the house is ready for somebody to move into, it all adds up. And like I said, I need to get this stuff done typically in an hour. I don't need to spend more than an hour here trying to clean, because I still have to do the actual inspection after this, which is where I walk around the entire house and I literally take hundreds of pictures of the place and document anything that needs maintenance, anything serious that I can't handle on my own. Definitely don't want to overlook any fixtures. That's gross right there. Somebody had like duct tape or something over that switch to prevent people from messing with it. Now that the duct tape's gone, the switch is all sticky and gross, so I gotta screw up that. The fact that it just rained is gonna slow things down even more. Now I've gotta be concerned about tracking mud into the house. But that's why they give us these things. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get busy wiping down surfaces, sweeping. It's mainly going to be a lot of sweeping, I think, and some spot mopping, cleaning some bathrooms. This counter is okay. Not bad. I know some of you might be looking at me actually working and doing this crap and thinking, dude, why the hell would you ever want to walk away from truck driving to clean? And again, it's not because of the specific act of driving a truck. It's just what the truck driving industry has turned into, what it's become, that I don't really want to be a part of anymore. I explained it a year ago. This is not mandatory that I do this. I'm just trying to go to a little bit of extra effort just to make sure that things look as good as they possibly can for the new tenant that's moving in, you know. I just try to put myself in their position and say, you know what, if I just paid X amount to move into a rental property, would I be okay if I came into it and things looked like this? That's what I asked myself. And that usually gives me a pretty good framing to work by as far as expectations go. But then again, at the same time, like I said, we're always challenged and we're always short on time because there is so much work that can go into this kind of stuff. And so basically what we try to do is we try to be as thorough as we can without taking forever to do stuff and get stuff done, because they want us to be thorough, they want us to be thoughtful and considerate, but at the same time they don't want us to get hung up on things for too long. So the idea, the key to all of this is to keep moving. Just keep it moving. Be thorough, but keep up the pace. Basically, that's. See, this toilet right here does not look good at all. It's pretty gross. You know, not every house looks like this. Some houses look much better. Some houses I don't have to touch, I don't have to sweep, I don't have to do anything. They're just clean, they're pristine, they're ready to go, they're ready for somebody to move into. In that case, all I have to do is take pictures and make sure that it's functional. Then again, there are also houses that look worse than this house, and in those cases I would say, like, again, this one, it's somewhere on the border of being too much work for me to get it done and not necessarily dirty enough to hire a professional cleaner to come in here and clean. If it was just a little bit dirtier, I would say, you know what, I don't have time to do this. I'm gonna report it. I'm gonna request a work order for somebody to come in and clean this house because I don't have time to do it. Again, I try to avoid doing that when possible because I'm saving the company money by doing it myself. And like I said, I don't want to over-explain. So that's actually okay. That tells me that they may have gotten this house clean. They paid to have it cleaned at one point, but they didn't pay to have it, you know, like professionally deep cleaned. And so with that being the case, it's not going to be perfect, but it might just be as clean as I'll be able to get it with my basic cleaning limitations. I was gonna say another thing to consider is that, like, sometimes they do get the houses clean. They pay cleaners to clean the houses. They'll come out, they'll clean the houses, and they're much cleaner than they are before the cleaning company arrives. Say if there's an eviction or something like that, the house is really dirty, there's trash everywhere, everything's stained, you know, the house is just soiled. They might come out and clean it, and the house might sit pretty, you know, and clean and pristine for a span of time, but because we've got, you know, in some cases hundreds of people coming out to look at these properties, to do house walks and tours, to come and evaluate whether or not they want the house to rent it. You know, you got to think about all the people coming through here that could be using these restrooms. They could be walking around outside. They could be getting mud on their shoes, coming inside the house, tracking shit up on the floor. And even though the house was clean initially, after 200 people walked through the house to check it out, needless to say, it's not clean anymore after that. See, this isn't gonna come off of this toilet bowl. It's like, I can't do anything to get rid of that. It just is what it is. Main thing I'm doing here is I'm looking for loose stuff, really watching what comes up off the floor whenever I sweep it. It might actually be necessary for me to go get my big push broom out of the van. See, you're probably seeing all these spots on the floor. That's paint. That's like dried paint. That's not gonna come up without scrubbing it. Now I do have this, and if I sit here and scrape on this, I can get this stuff to come up. But the thing is, that's one of those gray area things where I'm saying, well, the rest of the house is so bad that I don't have time to sit there and scrape paint off the floor, because they hired shoddy contractors to come in here and paint. And unfortunately, they got more paint on the floor than they did the walls. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of mud in this yard. Holy shit. Yeah, that's damn it. That's a lot of mud. One thing that was notated is spider webs. They mentioned a lot of spider webs, and sure enough, there's spider webs in the corners, some of them. So I need to be looking out for that kind of stuff. Here's another one right there. I'm not going to sit here and film me sweeping this entire house. I think you get the point. I think you see what I mean when I say this is quite a bit of work, and trying to get it done in 1 hour to prevent from falling behind, well, it can be challenging. It can be frustrating. It can be infuriating. Sometimes there's so much that gets spread across our schedules in any given day that we oftentimes don't have time to sit here and do what I'm doing. Keep at it until I'm done with the floors. Once I get done with the floors down here, I might have to spot mop a little bit. And once I'm done, I'll be heading upstairs to tackle that last bathroom and whatever floors up there don't have carpet that need to be swept. I'll handle that. But as you can see, I'm trying to get this shit done as fast as I can. Guys, I do have a normal mop, and I do have some floor cleaner. It's specifically for luxury vinyl plank flooring. I have all the stuff, I just don't have the time to use it right now. So what I'm trying to do is just be as thorough as I can with the stuff that doesn't take as much time. I don't have to sit there and make mop water and stuff like that. And like, honestly, there's no way in hell that I have enough time to mop this house today. It's frustrating because you tend to run into the same issues on a regular basis, and that's what I was saying before. Like, you have to figure out a way to cope and deal with these problems without getting overwhelmed. And sometimes it's tricky, sometimes it's kind of hard to do that, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, you get used to it after so long, and it's comes to be expected. And so, like I said, sometimes you just have to make intelligent compromises, and you have to say, well, I did this, I did that, I did everything I could. Is it perfect? Hell no, not even close. But I did the best I could with what I was allotted. Okay. It's been an hour. Been here for an hour cleaning. I'm gonna go up here, even though I'm over on my time. I'm gonna come up here and finish real quick. The next thing that I gotta do once I'm done with the cleaning, I'm not going to show you. Like I was saying before, there's just some things I can't show you. So I will skip past what I've gotta do next. And then after that, I'll be doing my actual inspection, my move-in setup, where I take pictures of the house. So I'll catch back up with you when I'm ready to do that. And like I said, after this house, I've got one in Ackworth and I've got one in Kennesaw. Same thing, move-in setup. So just depending on what those houses look like, hopefully they won't look as bad as this one. Some of them, I mean, sometimes our houses do look worse than this house looks, honestly. This one was not great by any means, but definitely not the worst. Everything is primarily functional. The only issue I came across was the light fixtures upstairs on the loft that needed to be changed. The light bulbs needed to be changed. Other than that, everything works. The oven, the dishwasher, the garage door, all that stuff is functional. So do this real quick. Do the next step that I can't show you, and then I'll start taking pictures. See, this is what I don't like, especially if they paid somebody to clean this house. They totally overlooked how bad the floor looks in some spots. And that's the first thing that I notice, is the floor, especially if it's LVP. It's weird how, I mean, it's not really weird, but it is kind of just bleh. the way that this floor has, or this house has mismatched or mixed matched floors in it. They're both LVP, but there's different kinds. It's like this one's newer and the one in the bathroom's older. So they don't actually replace things for the sake of cosmetic condition. They replace things for the sake of functionality. It's more cost effective that way. But I would say that we're done. Like that's as good as it's gonna get. Getting absolutely destroyed by mosquitoes. It's a shame that they don't have any grass growing right here. It's all mud. I know that would bother me, but there's nothing I can do about that. Oh, I'm gonna have to put some bug spray on in a minute. All right, now that I'm on this side of the house, I'm making note of the AC units. They're on, they're running. That's a good sign. Okay, let me explain what I'm doing. I am taking pictures of all the components, which I don't think I need to explain this part. But all of the components in this house, all these sections that it's requiring me to take photos of. The purpose of doing this is to make note of the condition before the new tenant moves into the house. That way, if there's any damage present at this time, it's documented so that when they move out, these pictures can be referenced in the future when they do move out. And that way we can tell, well, if there's damage to the house, it's a security deposit kind of thing. That's partially why. That's only part of the reason why, but yeah, it's first like the security deposit. Right here, this is the water main. So everything from the meter to this side of the house, you know, everything coming back from the street to the house, it all comes in through this main line right here. It's different for every house, like the setup. But in this case, it's in the garage. I'm gonna make note of that. It's another reason why we do this. The new tenant before they sign the lease, the contract, they're gonna be looking at these pictures so that they can see the current state of the house. And they can go off of these pictures to decide, you know, up to the very last minute whether or not they want to back out of the lease before they sign the contract. So they might find something in one of these pictures that they don't like, that changes their mind. In other words, sure that it's like it's a legal requirement that we take pictures of specific things. And every time, I mean, I'm pretty sure that contract that the tenant signs, in fact, I'm certain that it's like an affidavit or whatever the hell you call those things, where it's a notarized document. So it actually has to get legally stamped by the court, the legal system, to be seen as a legally binding contract for when they move in. Should have actually taken this down first. This is just a no trespassing sign. Not that it makes any difference if somebody wants to get into one of our houses, that, trust me, this has never stopped them from doing that. It's another legal thing again. A lot like truck driving, a lot of the stuff that pertains to the housing industry it's all based on similar kind of in legal environments. Like, there are plenty of liabilities in this industry, just like the trucking industry. Anyway, what I was saying is that affidavit, that notarized contract, I think the company themselves, they have to be able to present records, including photo records of certain things. What I was gonna say earlier that I actually forgot to mention is, I say that there's like a trifecta of components that I'm taking into consideration whenever I do a move-in inspection or a move-in setup. It's threefold. It's a trifecta. So it's cleanliness, it's functionality, and it's security. Basically what I'm doing is I'm ensuring that the house is clean, it's functional, and that it's safe. I just showed you what qualifies as clean. Functional, that means the dishwasher, the oven, the the refrigerator, the plumbing, the lights. By the way, this is a little one, but it's not as small as you think. Doorbell works. So many things I'm checking on. The lock system works. The security system works. Motion sensors, everything that we have, it's all functional. And as far as it being safe, that just means that the house is able to be secured. All the windows lock, all the doors lock. There's no gas leaks or anything like that. I just missed it. I'll take a picture of the floor in here, a couple of them. And so that literally takes hundreds of pictures to document. and that's what I'm working on right now. This right here in itself, usually, especially with a house as big as this one, this is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house with a full-size kitchen. There's no family room, there's a living room, there's a dining room. So a house this size, typically, ooh, that's a lot of gas. Typically it'll take me about an hour to take all the pictures I need of a house this size. Now we do have some houses that are much bigger than this house. We've got houses with full-size basements, offices, family rooms, multiple family rooms. Some of our houses have up to 6 bedrooms in them, up to 4 bathrooms, full-size bathrooms. Going into a house like that to make sure it's clean can be a living hell, literally. And all the pictures at the same time, all the pictures, it can take an extremely long amount of time to say I had the dishwasher running. To take all those pictures, it can take a long time. And the bad thing about it is, I've told you guys in the past that my route is based on the information in a database that is determined from an algorithm which goes on deadline dates and certain inspection statuses. So everything is determined by these algorithms. So when their algorithm is building my route, it's not going to take into account how much extra time I'm spending driving to get to a house that's further away, and it's not going to take into account how much bigger the house that I'm inspecting is compared to the standard size house, or how dirty the house may be in comparison to most of the other houses. It's not going to take any of that into account. It's just going to build a route based on deadline dates and what needs to be done the most. And because of that, I repeatedly find myself in extremely challenging situations. See, here's another thing that I run into from time to time. This should not be in this cabinet, but it is, because when they came in and they did their work to empty the house out, they failed to empty everything. Sometimes they overlook things. That's another thing that I'm responsible for and required to do, is whenever things get overlooked like that, I have to deal with it. I have to handle it. I'm gonna have to take all those glasses out. There's nothing I can do with them, and I have to throw them in the trash can because I have nowhere else to put them. I don't need them. They're just trash that was left behind. Before I do that, I'm gonna get a picture of this water temperature right here to make sure that it's within the standard range. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and that the water heater actually is heating the water. Gotta take a picture of this. It's a smart hub. It's what keeps the thermostat, the sensors, everything with the security system, all that stuff online, the locks, all of it, the smart hub. Okay. Now that I know that the AC units outside are running, I'm gonna try to go ahead and get my proof that the HVAC system is functional. I'm gonna take a picture of the thermostat and take a picture of the air temp coming out of the vent. As long as it's within operating range, it's considered functional. All right, now let me get this shit out of this cabinet that they didn't get. And I'm keeping track of my time. I've been here for, I'm already like, at this point, I'm about right at the threshold of the amount of time that I'm allotted to be at this house. I'm only supposed to be here for a move-in setup for 90 minutes. Or actually, I think it's 100 minutes now. So it's about an hour and 40 minutes that I'm allowed to be at one of these move-ins. And I say it like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna get in trouble for not getting it done in that amount of time. It's just that that's the standard allotment of time that I get for a move-in setup. Like, that's how long they're saying it should take me to get this done. But as you guys saw what I did, I was basically, you know, spending a considerable amount of time cleaning. And I actually did more cleaning than what would be considered as standard. And that's why I'm going over on my time now. I feel like I'm about to start doing some circus tricks or something. It's not normally this cumbersome, but because it's been raining so much lately and this yard has no grass in it. It's another thing about, like, the yards, for instance. Sometimes there's an exorbitant amount of trash in the yard and I have to clean that shit up. This yard's not that bad, thankfully. I gotta start moving my ass, guys. I'm starting to get hung up too much. I need to keep moving. The kitchen is the most tedious area because it wants pictures of the inside of the cabinets, the outside of the cabinets, the counters, under the sink, all of that stuff. But you see that it's for good reason. Had I not been required to take pictures with the cabinet doors open, this is basically just to prove to them that I checked inside every single one of these cabinets and drawers to make sure that nothing was left behind. And it is necessary because you saw what they left. They left a bunch of glasses in the cabinet. Now, could you imagine moving in and finding something in the cabinet or one of the drawers? It happens, but it looks bad for the company. It makes the company look unprofessional that we didn't even take the time to take the former resident stuff out of the house, like get it all out of the house. First impressions are extremely important when you're talking about something like the housing market. First impressions, very important. I mean, you want to make sure that the customer is satisfied from day one. And that's the thing about this particular company. They've got some really, really good positive feedback online from some of their tenants. But then they've also got some really negative feedback. And it's crazy that two different people can approach the same company with the same amount of expense out of pocket and rent a house in the same neighborhood as each other. For the same amount, but yet have so much of a different experience from each other. I'm talking about the individual case. It's a different experience. For one person, it's a really positive experience. They get what they wanted. They're satisfied with their choice. But for the other person, it's exactly the opposite. They've got nothing but complaints. They've done nothing but, there's a paintbrush in this window. They've got nothing but a negative report to give about the same company that the other person's satisfied with. How does that happen? It happens from inconsistency. See, like really this kind of shit right here, the blinds being dirty like this. Do I have time in reality to take care of this? No. But is it a problem? Yes. Absolutely. So I'm just, you know, I'm showing you guys what my job is like. It's not the end of the freaking world that the blinds are stained, but it is kind of shitty at the same time. Should it be addressed? Yes. Can I do anything about it realistically? Not unless I'm willing to fall behind on my route and then start creating friction and issues with my supervisor. I have a different supervisor, by the way, guys. I didn't mention that, but they swapped management. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. I'm gonna speed up a little bit now that I'm done with the damn kitchen, which is what takes the longest to do. Another thing that dictates how long one of these move-in setup inspections, all the pictures, how long it takes to take all these, is your network connection. And this company uses Verizon, and I've already complained about it once to you in this video, so I think you guys get the point. I tell you what I'm gonna do. There is something I can do about these blinds. Even though I can't address it myself, I'm gonna take pictures of the blinds and I'm gonna report it so that if they decide that they want to address it or do anything about it, they'll have to send somebody out here to either clean these or replace them. Will they actually do that? I don't know. But the point is, I reported it because this house took a bit longer to do, and I'm actually going over on my window for the job. Hopefully the house after this house, or the last house I have, will be less time consuming. And I'll be able to catch up like that. I'm gonna report this to Double checking for leaks. You notice I've got my tablet. I carry my tablet everywhere I go. That way, if I come across anything as I'm taking all these pictures in the rent or the move-in setup inspection, if I come across anything that needs to be reported, I've got my tablet right there with me. I can report it right away. I don't have to go back and remember where I set it down to get it to go take a picture for a quality check email. Which anything I find, guys, after this, I actually am not done. I have to create a report. I'm almost done with my pictures. I just gotta finish up here. It's not gonna take long. I've been here for 2 hours. But you guys see how, except for the stressful parts of the job, it's actually really cool because you're just out here by yourself. There's nobody here bothering me. I mean, sometimes people come, the HOA or prospective tenants that want to come look at the house. In the case of a move-in setup, nobody's gonna come though, unless it's HOA or the person that's moving into the house, but they're not supposed to be. I mean, they're not supposed to come until it's ready. And it's not ready until I'm done doing this. That's why it's so important that I get this shit done on time, is because they're supposed to move in by a certain date and time. And if I haven't done this inspection, then they can't legally move in. Then really what it does is it just protects. See this shit right here? I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna have to go get my damn drill and fix that. It protects the tenant. That's a functionality issue. Damn doorknob's about to fall off. I'm not gonna do this whole process at the other two houses I have. I just wanted to show you a baseline. Okay, we're done with this. See, it's just little shit like that that takes extra time, that whoever came to this house and did the initial inspection, they could have caught that. They could have fixed that the first time they came to the house. But they overlooked it, just like they overlooked the lights in the loft area. Like, that took extra time for me to change those lights. Time that I don't really have. I mean, I'm already supposed to be at the second house right now. Sometimes it can, especially when you start to run behind or fall behind, it can feel overwhelming. The amount of stuff that you have to remember to do, and if you don't do it just right, then it'll screw things up. Especially on their database. You know, there's not a whole lot that I can explain about this part of everything, but just trust me, it's very tedious and detail oriented, and you can easily screw things up, so you have to be careful. I'm gonna do my notes for the house. I'm gonna say that this house passed with certain conditions that they might want to look into. I'm gonna say blinds in kitchen and living room are stained. I'm doing voice to text because it's a lot faster. Almost 2.5 hours I've been here. Next house, see how far away it is. 26 freaking minutes away. I told you it's gonna be like half an hour.